Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's review, we get to take a look at the all-new 2025 BMW M5. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this sedan for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. So this M5 is finished off in dark graphite metallic. It has an MSRP just over $131,000. Now the 25-year model is strictly a plug-in hybrid that is paired to the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8 along with the 8-speed automatic, and combined it pumps out 717 horsepower, 738 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this nearly 5,400-pound sedan from 0 to 60 in as quick as 3.4 seconds. It has a top speed up to 190 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 15.9 gallons, and you'll expect to see around 25 miles on just the EV system alone, and it can charge in as quick as 2 hours with a fast charger. Now this also has a wheelbase of 118.3 inches. Its overall length is 200.6. It has a width of 77.6, a height of 59.4, and its ground clearance measures in right around 5 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, the all-new M5 has been completely redesigned. Up front, you'll notice the latest design for the headlight housings, which have that dark inner housing to them, along with LEDs for the headlights, high beams, DRLs, and turn signals. And then there's also the illumination for the kidney grille. It has a very nice look to it, finished off in gloss black for the entire surround. There's also the forward-facing camera, as well as a sensor right in the middle, and then massive cutouts on both sides to provide a lot of cooling to that engine. And then in the lower section, you'll notice there's massive inlets on both sides, along with parking sensors too, and there's also some large cutouts where you can see part of that front tire. You'll notice too that there's a vertical stripe that runs pretty much through the middle. So it's in the lower section there. You'll notice the lines right in the middle of that sensor, and then up to the BMW badge there, where the hood lines break off of that grille to give it a beefy front end design. Now, as we work our way to the side, this model has a gloss black set of wheels. It is a staggered setup. They're 20 by 10.5 up front, 21 by 11 in the rear. And then there's the massive red brake calipers to give it a great contrast. Now this model is also equipped with power folding side mirrors. This model has carbon fiber for that mirror cap. There's also the camera and the turn signal, and then carbon fiber for the entire roof. Now all the window trim is also gloss black to blend in nicely, and you'll notice the lower side skirt pokes out slightly. So it gives it some really nice definition for that lower section there, and then M5 is also stamped in that trim accent just behind the glass there. And then in back, this model gets a carbon fiber trunk mounted spoiler. There's the backup camera, LED taillights, all of the parking sensors, and then gloss black for that diffuser, as well as the quad tip dual exhaust, which is finished off in gloss black. Now this model does have remote start, so you can simply triple tap on that lock button in order to do that. And then we have the rest of the controls, including for the trunk, or you can use the button up underneath to electronically release it. Now this is still a family style sedan, so you get a good bit of space in the back. There's no storage or a spare underneath, but you have quite a lot of space, and then you can fold down the back seats. So simply just pull on those tabs on both sides. That will give you a lot more interior space for some larger items as needed. And then you have the two controls up top to either lock the vehicle or to just close that lift gate. Now as we work our way to the back, we have that flush mounted design for the door handles here. And then for this particular model, we have a black interior. There's the Bowers & Wilkins audio as well. Really nice brushed accent for the release handle and that trim accent. And then there's also two manual adjusting sunshades. So you can use those as needed. There's also a little bit of space down in that lower section. And then you'll notice the BMW color stitched on the seat belts and the black leather seats. Now, as we work our way into the back, at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's no storage pockets behind both front seats. You have the vents in the middle, some auxiliaries, and then you get all of your adjustments for your heated seats, where you'd like the air to go, temperature, and fan speed. There's also some storage just underneath that. And then at my height, 5'10", I have about ½ inch or so between my head and the Alcantara headliner. So it's pretty comfortable for its size. And you do have this little bump right in the middle for your middle seat passenger. So it's really not all that bad sitting in the middle. And I still am just barely touching the headliner. So you could sit in the middle if you really needed to. Now, right in the middle, if you don't have that passenger, you do have the armrest as well as two cup holders. And then you can even fold down this middle seat if you need a little bit of extra versatility. And then you have some small pillars in the back there, so it's pretty easy to see. And then before we take a look at the front door panel, over on this driver's side, this is how you can plug in the M5. So you have that adjustment there, which is easy to do, and this model also features regenerative braking too. So you can adjust that, which I'll show here in just a second. And then up front, the door panel is just like the rear. However, you have the addition of the interior lighting. So this entire strip here, which also has the memory seating adjustments, you have lock and unlock. There's the speaker up above, along with carbon fiber, your side window controls, mirror adjustments, there's the trunk release too. You get some leather and then a little bit of storage down below. Now M5 is also down on the door sill there, and then we have a really nice set of leather seats with the M5 badge just underneath that headrest. All the controls are down on the side, including your lumbar support, and then there is the leg support here, which you can further adjust. Now, as we hop in, we are greeted with the brand new flat bottom design for the steering wheel with those spokes in the lower section there. There's massive paddle shifters as well, along with the boost paddle over on that left side. There's M1 and M2. You have cruise control settings, and then on the right side, there's volume, along with your Bluetooth voice commands. You have shortcuts to music. But let's start this up and take a listen to how the all-new M5 sounds. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, on the left side there's miles per hour along with your fuel gauge. On the right side there's the tach as well as your battery level. And then you can also go through a lot more shortcuts using that control on the right side of the steering wheel. So you can go through all of this information and scroll through all of these vitals as needed. You have quite a lot that you can look at. And then you can also go over to the right for the head-up display, where you can pull that up in a very large screen up on the dash there, and you have a few settings depending on what you would like to see. Now, you can also further change the gauge cluster by coming down to the lower section here and pushing on M mode. When you do that, you can go into sport or track. So when I push on sport, now we have all of those essential vitals that you can pull up, including how the vehicle is currently set up. So over on that left side, we have all those different modes, and when you push between M1 and M2, you can have those customized and set those up as needed. And then you get some other vitals on the one side there and the massive RPM gauge up on the head-up display. Now, as we look over on the left side, you have more carbon fiber along with all of your headlight adjustments. There's a fuel cap release and a control for that air vent, as well as another one located down below. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system now, if we go to the home screen, this is where you have all of these widgets that you can scroll through, and you can even add some and configure them as needed. In the lower section, you have shortcuts to your music. You can also get into all of these icons. So you have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, your interior lighting. You can get into your seat comfort. You have quite a lot that you can look at, including your M lap timer. Now you can also get into all of your climate adjustments. There's a shortcut to your navigation. You can pull up the music as well. And then on the left and right side, you can get into your heated and ventilated seats, and then the heated steering wheel for your driver, along with the temperature icons too. Now underneath that, there's gloss black, and then more of that interior ambient lighting. There's some defrosters, as well as more adjustments for those fan speeds with carbon fiber right in the middle. There's also wireless charging down below, along with a little bit of storage there. You get more interior lighting for the cup holders, as well as some auxiliaries. And then over on this right side, these are all shortcuts for the infotainment system. So you don't have to use it as a touchscreen system. You have all of these controls to do that. There's also volume, you can mute, there's tuning, you have M mode, there's also M hybrid. So when you go into M hybrid, you can actually configure how you would like the hybrid system to be controlled, which is very cool to see. There's also your setup as well. Now, with this being a plug-in hybrid, you have a few more settings like your energy, recovery, your drive logic, and then you have more of the standard configurations like you would see in the normal M cars. So you have M1 and M2, different driving settings that you can get into, including the charging. So you can go through all of this as needed, just depending on how you're driving, what you need to do. You have your driver assistance as well, and then your drivetrain and your chassis. So you can go through all this and even have your electric on start. So when you start the vehicle up, that will default to the EV setting. So if you're pulling out of your driveway or something like that, you can have it set up that way. You can also get into your traction control, and there is a shortcut for the camera system. So we have that 360 camera system where you can go through all of these views, just depending on what you would like to see. You can view around the entire vehicle. So definitely very helpful. Nothing new from BMW, but you have quite a lot of visibility with that. Now we have the large red engine start stop button, and here is your shifter. So when we put it into reverse or drive, you can pull up those camera angles. There's also sport mode, and then the e-brake is park, so just push on that. There's auto hold behind that. You have a split design for the armrest, as well as some auxiliaries. There's also plenty of storage in the glove box here, so just push on that button. And then up top, there's garage door buttons with the rear view mirror, and then you have some call buttons, as well as the dome lights. And then here's a look at visibility. Pretty similar to the previous generation. It's really not all that hard to see around, so you definitely have a lot of visibility. You can easily see over that left side as well. So as we set off now behind the wheel for the all-new BMW M5, I won't be doing any performance driving with this all-new model today to compare it, especially with the previous model, which weighs about 1,000 pounds less. But you can take a look at our BMW M3 competition videos that we recently made and took that through the mountains. It performed incredibly well. Such a fun vehicle. Now this weighs more, but it also has a lot more power. Over 700 horsepower and a lot of torque. Definitely makes this a performance-oriented vehicle, but I would be curious to see what it's like with that added weight, taking it through the twisties. What I do like though about the M5 is that we do have the plug-in hybrid. Now I own a plug-in hybrid BMW X5, and if I had to buy it again, I would go with the gas, simply because you have to consistently plug it in just to keep the battery maintained. Now the battery will charge as you drive this. You have several different driving modes in order to do that, so you can generate some charging from just daily driving, but you do need to plug it in maybe a couple times a week, something like that, just to keep that battery up to full charge and just have it go through its cycles like that. But I do think it is cool in the fact that you can start this up, put it in the EV setting, have it default to EV, and just drive it like normal, maybe back out of your garage if you don't want to wake the neighbors with a loud vehicle. But then you can also put it into some of these modes here, get it into sport mode there, and then just have a nice tone to that V8. So it is nice that they still kept the V8 and added that hybrid. I think it's definitely a good combo, but I know a lot of people do like just strictly having the V8. And with what I can do today, this is going to be quick. The M3 competition was amazingly quick. This is going to be just another step up with the amount of power that you get. Now, I also do notice that it looks like you can adjust how quick or slow you want the transmission to shift. I just don't know where that button is located. It's not on the shifter like on the previous models, so that is something that I have no idea where it is, but it looks like you can still do that, which is nice. And then let's hold on this boost paddle. It looks like it gives you a boost, changes colors there, and downshifts a little bit, so that way you can do a nice acceleration. But as far as driving the M5 goes, first impressions, not a far test drive. It seems very nice. It seems very comfortable, even with everything in Sport Plus and Sport Mode at the moment. These seats are super nice. They have some wide supports around my shoulders on both sides. And it's going to be a little bit more luxury focused versus the M3. The only reason I compare it to that is because we had one for 7 days, and that's a really nice vehicle. But this is a little bit more luxury focused-ish, just a little bit more of a comfortable vehicle to drive, even though it has all this power and performance. And we are still in Sport Plus second gear. Here we go. So for that minor acceleration that I can do today, you definitely can feel the power just wanting to keep going. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the all-new BMW M5. Very familiar interior if you've seen a lot of the 25-year models, very similar to the M3 that we just had for a week. And it's a nice layout. The biggest difference, of course, is the exterior styling, as well as having that plug-in hybrid. And it changed the shifting point to shift the slowest. So possibly that is done through the different driving modes that you are doing, and not necessarily a physical control like some of the previous models. But looks like we are in E-Control now, which is saving the electric power. So you're just relying on the gas engine. we have electric now, where let's give it an acceleration. This is pedal to the floor, and obviously you're not going to have quite as much power. I believe the electric output is right around 190 horsepower or so, 200, give or take just a little bit. So with the weight of this vehicle, obviously, that's just mainly for cruising like we are right now, slower speed situations, things like that. You can go into hybrid to utilize both of them. You have Dynamic and Dynamic Plus. And Dynamic Plus is what's going to give us the full potential behind this M5. So whether you like it or hate it, you get a lot more power, you get a lot more driving characteristics with the new M5. You just also get a much higher curb weight too. So for that performance style vehicle, it is going to weigh a bit more, but I'm sure, you know, on a day-to-day basis, you're not going to feel it, really taking it through the corners. I'd be curious to see how it carries its weight. We have all-wheel drive, so you have the grip for that extra weight, and you have a lot of power to just get this up and moving with that luxury vibe and aspect. So it's definitely a cool new 5 Series to see, very comfortable too. I could see this being a great daily driver, putting people in the back, just using it for those purposes, but still having that performance and those really neat tech features that are becoming very popular in a lot of vehicles. But that is going to wrap it up for the all-new 2025 BMW M5. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Charlotte for providing this sedan for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.